Moses Itauma turns down a fight against Frank Sanchez, a final eliminator to become the mandatory challenger for Undisputed Champion Oleksandr Usyk. Now, let me just reframe that statement. What they really mean to say is, Uncle Frank, aka Frank Warren, has turned down a fight on behalf of Moses Itauma to fight Frank Sanchez. Let's keep it real here. Let's just make it clear. At this stage of his career, Moses Itauma does not pick and choose who he's going to fight next. His career is managed by Queensberry Promotions. They tell him who to fight. You know, they sit down as a team and make a plan. You know what I mean? They plan out his career. They're like, listen, you're going to fight him next. Then you're going to fight him. Then depending on how it goes, you're going to fight him. Depending on who retires, if Usyk retires, AJ retires, Fury retires, you can fight him. They've got it all planned out, mate. It's all mapped out for Moses Itauma. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to take no diversions, yeah? Or do anything that would jeopardize the opportunities for Moses Itauma in the future. Like, Moses Itauma is a massive asset to Queensberry Promotion and Frank Warren. Moses Itauma, he's gonna be one of the biggest superstars in boxing in the near future. He's potentially the face of boxing for the next 10 years. So they're not gonna take no chances here or risk him going in there in that ring against a slick Cuban who's got decent hand speed, who can box, who's still got a bit of footwork as well. Put him in the ring there and potentially get smacked up. They're not going to risk that. Come on. Let's keep it real. They're not going to take that risk. It's too early for Moses Itauma. He's only 20 years old. I know us as boxing fans here, we just want to see people get knocked the F out, innit? We just want to see the best fight the best. The big names fight against each other. We just smell blood and we just want to see someone get knocked out. Let's keep it real. Because we're fans, innit? We just want to see the best fights. But as a promoter, management, they care about the career of the fighter. So we can call it ducking, rejecting, turning down. We can call it whatever we want to call it. But to them, it's business, mate. They see the pound signs, the dollar signs. That's all they see, mate. So they're not going to risk the bag, mate. Do you know what I mean? Never risk the asset. You have to protect the asset at all costs. And Moses Itauma is a big, big asset to Queensberry Promotions. Look, Frank Warren, he's made mistakes in the past, especially with someone like Daniel Dubois. Remember, Frank Sanchez, he could potentially be the Joe Joyce for Moses Itauma. See the way Joe Joyce, what he did to Daniel Dubois? Frank Sanchez could do that to Moses Itauma. So they're not going to take that chance. Frank Warren has learned his lesson. He's learned his lesson. And you know what? I kind of like it. I like it because a few months ago, people were all talking about Moses Itauma fighting Oleksandr Usyk, fighting everybody, fighting all the big names in the heavyweight division. Apparently, you know, he can smoke everybody. Listen, he had a good performance against Dillian Whyte, yeah, but us as boxing fans, we didn't really learn much about Moses Itauma in that fight against Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte was, we know, past his sell-by date. He's washed at this moment in his career. He's done. Yeah, we were hoping Dillian Whyte can go in there and give a good account of himself, at least test the young Itauma, you know, and give him a few rounds, but it wasn't to be. He was done in the first round, man, but he took a cool 2 million back home with him. So he's fine. He's all right. Disappointing for us, the boxing fans, but for Dillian Whyte, yo, his bank account is fine, man. He's enjoying himself right now, you know. But for Moses Itauma to go in there against Frank Sanchez, who's got 25 fights here, one loss, his only defeat coming against Ajit Kabayao. Now, we all know Ajit Kabayao is a serious operator in the heavyweight division. Kabayao, yeah, I'm telling you right now, your favorite heavyweights are ducking him. He's actually one of the guys that's been ducked the most, him and Joseph Parker, you know? So it tells you a lot about Frank Sanchez, man. He's only lost to the best. You want to put a 20-year-old with 13 fights early in his career, still wet behind the ears. You want to put him against Frank Sanchez. Listen, I'm not saying that Moses Itauma hasn't got the capabilities or the tools to deal with Sanchez, but it's a big risk. Is it a risk worth taking right now? No. Mate, if I'm now thinking like a promoter, I've got my promoter's hat on, I'm not taking that risk. Not now. Not now. You know, not now. The hype was behind Moses Itauma. Frank Warren was hyping him up. They were talking about Usyk, like, yo, Usyk, we can fight Usyk tomorrow. Even when Moses Itauma defeated Dillian White, he was like, yo, you know, listen, respect to everybody else in the heavyweight division, Parker and that, they've worked hard, but I think I can do it. I think I can fight Usyk right now, you know? I think after he made that statement, they took him back in the change room. I think they had a few words with the kid and they told him, listen, let's just calm down. Let's just calm down, keep our feet firmly on the ground because we're starting to enter the danger zone here. These are dangerous territories now. Let's calm down. Let's just build it up slowly. And I'm glad that's happened. I'm glad that's happened. He's going to benefit massively from this clampdown, Moses Itauma. He's going to benefit from it because we've seen it in the past when fighters get hyped up too quickly. What happens, man? They come back down crashing, mate. Crashing, and they never recover. They never recover. Look at Jared Anderson, man. Go smoked by Bakole. He ain't been the same ever since. He doesn't even want to fight. He got called out by Gerald Miller. Baby Miller called him out and he doesn't want to fight. He's ducking that. So, listen, these young heavyweights, young boxers, let's build them up slowly. Because Moses Itauma, the way I look at things, yeah, like from a business perspective, yeah, when you're building a brand, yeah, they're building up Moses Itauma in the same image as Joshua, in the Joshua image, basically. Moses Itauma is being lined up to be the next Joshua, to be that superstar, that pay-per-view king. That's what they're lining him up for, you know? And if you put him in against dangerous guys too early, you could just jeopardize the whole shit. And at the end of the day, yeah, like I said, as fans, we want to see the best fights. I want to see the best fights. I want to see Moses Itauma go in there and get cracked. And I want to see how he recovers. Like, that's me talking as a fan. But as a promoter, as a management company, what Frank Warren and them guys got going on, that's their asset. He's worth hundreds of millions to them. They're not going to risk him. They're not going to risk him too soon, too early. You know, I know they've hyped him up, but trust me, they've understood. They've heard the noises, then they've calmed down, you know. And I know some people are saying, yo, but Enzo, if Moses Itauma fights Frank Sanchez and he beats him, he becomes the mandatory for Oleksandr Usyk. Please, let's cut the crap, my people. Let's cut the crap. Since when has a mandatory ever meant anything in boxing? Mandatory don't mean shit these days in boxing. Let's keep it real. Joseph Parker has been a mandatory for the last 2 years. Maybe longer, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, please. Because I don't want to say things that are not factual. But as far as I can remember, Joseph Parker has been a mandatory for so long. Where has he got to? Where has Joseph Parker got to being a mandatory challenger? He's had no title fight. He's been chasing these champions. They've been ignoring him for the longest. When Daniel Dubois fought Oleksandr Usyk, was Daniel Dubois a mandatory challenger? No. Just 2 weeks ago, Terence Crawford fought Saul Canelo Alvarez. Was Crawford the mandatory for Canelo's belt at 168 pounds? No. Mandatory challenges, positions, it don't mean shit these days in boxing. And for me, it really pisses me off because I believe if you've earned your spot, if you've climbed up the ranks here, you've worked hard, you've smoked some big fighters like Parker has, and then you get to the top, you're the mandatory. They don't acknowledge you. They ignore you. They don't want to fight you. It's annoying for me. It's annoying for a lot of boxing fans here, but that's just the world of boxing, innit? If Turki Al-Sheikh, Frank Warren, if them guys, if they love you, do you know what I mean? If they're on your side, you're going to get the fight. There's nothing stopping Turki Al-Sheikh, Frank Warren and them guys, yeah, announcing Moses Itauma versus Oleksandr Usyk tomorrow if they wanted to. You really think they care about what the fans are saying? They don't. They care what makes them the most money. They could announce Moses Itauma versus Oleksandr Usyk tomorrow and shove it down our throats, and there's nothing we can do about it. So spare me when people talk about, yeah, Moses Itauma has the opportunity to become the mandatory challenger. Nobody gives a shit about that anymore. Not the guys that are in charge, not the guys that actually pull up the money for the fights. They don't care about that shit. If Turki Al-Sheikh wakes up tomorrow and he wants to give an opportunity to Fabio Wardley to fight for Undisputed, that's exactly what will happen. That's what boxing has become. So forget about the mandatories, man. Forget about all that. Moses Itauma will get his title shot when Turki Al-Sheikh and Frank Warren sit together and they decide to do so. He'll get it. So I'm not even worried about all that. I don't think Moses Itauma is worried. I don't think what Frank Warren even gives a shit about all that. Because he knows he can snap his fingers right now and one of his fighters will get a title shot. Do you know what I mean? That's exactly what's gonna happen, man. Frank Warren got a lot of power right now. Turki Al-Sheikh got a lot of power in boxing right now. They can make all these moves. They can make all these moves. So the mandatory challenger, they don't mean shit. Let's forget about all that. Just forget about it. I know it does piss off a lot of boxing fans. Trust me, I'm with you. But it's just the sad reality right now that we're living in the world of boxing. It is what it is, you know? It is what it is. But I can understand why Frank Warren won't put his boy in the ring against Frank Sanchez. Because Frank Sanchez, like I said, man, he's not Dillian White 2.0. He's not Dempsey McKean. He's not Mike Balogun. Frank Sanchez can do some grievous bodily harm to Moses Itauma. Serious bodily harm. Do you know what I mean? He could put that fire out. Really. Like I said, I'm not saying that Moses Itauma can't beat him. Moses Itauma is very talented. He's got the capability. He's got the skills. But it's a risk. Too much of a risk to take right now. So I call it ducking. The rest of the boxing fans, we call it ducking, rejecting, turn down, whatever we want to call it. But it's sensible. It's a sensible business decision that Queensbury Promotions and Uncle Frank have made. Now, let's look at some of the potential fighters that have been taunted around to challenge Moses Itauma next up. We've got David Adelaide. David Adelaide, who fought Hrgovic, and he looked terrible, David Adelaide. David Adelaide talks a lot, but he doesn't back it up, man. Do you know what I mean? He is British level at best. And you know what, yeah? If Moses Itauma wants to get some rounds, go fight David Adelaide, man. Because you beat David Adelaide. He's way too skilled. David Adelaide is too slow. Too slow. And he's not skilled. Too slow, man. I see Moses Itauma putting him away. And the second guy that they're taunting around, talking about he's going to fight Moses Itauma, is Michael Hunter. Now, Michael Hunter he's 37 years old. I really rated Michael Hunter when he was in the cruiserweight division. Now, his only defeat is to one of the great fighters of all time. 2 times undisputed Oleksandr Usyk. Now, there's no shame in losing to Oleksandr Usyk. Everyone's lost to him. So there's no shame in that. But Michael Hunter's now 37 years old. He's slowed down a bit. Can Moses Itauma get in there and mop the floor with him and make it look good and everything? Yes, he can. Can Michael Hunter go in there and hang around and do a better job than Dillian White? Yes, of course. I think Michael Hunter will go in there and do a better job. He's a better boxer, more slick. He's got better technique, everything like that than Dillian White. But he's 37. He's not the fighter that he used to be. And I can see Moses Itauma defeating him. So these 2 fighters, Michael Hunter and David Adelaide, if these are the 2 fighters that Queensbury Promotions considering for Moses Itauma, okay, that's sensible for me. Now, that as in, if he fights one of them, he's not going to tell us a lot about Moses Itauma. We're not really going to learn too much. Maybe against Michael Hunter, he might get tested a little bit more, so we might learn some things. Against David Adelaide, we're not going to learn anything. But both these names, I don't mind. Let him fight them. And then after that, he can move up to that next stage, you know? Because Moses Itauma, he's ranked highly with some of these organizations. He's ranked, I think, 5th with the WBO, IBF, number 5 or 4 or number 2 or whatever. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. So eventually he's going to have to start fighting some of these ranked fighters, man, eventually. You know, but let me know your thoughts in the comments, my people. How are you taking this news? Moses Itauma ducking? Or is he a sensible business move from Queensbury Promotion and Frank Warren to protect the asset? To protect him for now. He's 20 years old, 13 fights in. Let him have a couple of more, you know, warm-up fights, easy fights, whatever you want to call it, just to sharpen up the tools a little bit more, and then you can take him to that next stage. Or do you want to see Moses Itauma fight right now? Get into a big fight right now. Get in there with Frank Sanchez. And do you think if he gets in there against Frank Sanchez, he can beat Frank Sanchez? Let me know in the comments, my people. I really appreciate it. Once again, thank you so much for watching EMGM Sports. It's me, your boy Enzo, the realest in the game. Please don't forget to smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, because that's the only way you're going to help us to grow. I'll be back real soon with another one. Until then, stay blessed, my people. Peace.